Troopers and grinders, welcome to Hank's Breakdown! Where the inmates are running the asylum, and it's up to Hank the Tank to see who comes out on top amidst this horrific madness! And without further ado, let's take a look at two of our contestants, shall we? Two of our asylees who have found their way out of the chicken coop. First we have Luana Pinero taking on the tiny tornado, Tisha Pennington. The thing about Luana Pinero is that she's younger than Tisha Pennington, she's taller than Tisha Pennington, but the thing about Luana Pinero in this fight is that she just keeps getting her ass kicked by women's strawweights with just a little bit of talent. Take Amanda Ribas, for example, landing a head kick in the final minutes of their fight when she was getting her butt kicked, still found a way to win. Angela Hill beats her by submission of all methods, like just gets her right down and finds the mounted guillotine. And then Jillian Robertson, give credit to Luana Pinero, she survived the onslaught of Gillian Robertson and made it all 3 rounds. Honestly, that was the one fight she should have been finished in, but so credit to her toughness and I guess her ability to survive on the ground, but she just keeps getting schooled by these talented women's strawweights, and I really do think that Tisha Pennington belongs among the bunch. I mean, her pressure game's excellent. She has really good grappling, which is why she refused to get taken down by either Mackenzie Dern or Tabitha Ritchie in both fights. She's just really good at coming forward, controlling the cage, making sure to take the center, and when she's in the center and she's coming forward, she's usually the one landing the offense. Now, she is the queen of split decisions, I will admit it. She went to a split with Ritchie, she went to a split with Dern. She won a unanimous decision against Carlos Esparza when honestly she shouldn't have. That was the one fight that she actually deserved to go to a split decision in, but she won by unanimous decision against the Cookie Monster Carlos Esparza. And of course, they gave Carlos Esparza a video package when she didn't deserve it, just continuing that hot streak of rewarding terrible fighters and punishing good ones. But I just think that Tisha Pennington's going to outclass Luana Pinero here. She's not going to get taken down once, and again, if she keeps the center of the cage like she usually does, she's going to batter Luana Pinero. There really isn't one aspect of the fight game that I think Luana's better than Tisha Pennington at. And plus, she's got the Rocky buff, baby. She is married to Rocky Balboa, the former UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. And what a sad world we're in that we can call her a former champion. But she's got the supportable Rocky on her side, so give me the tiny tornado to suck up Luana Pinero, no diddy, and continue her path of destruction! Pennington by decision. In our next padded cell, we have Hyun Sung Park taking on Carlos Hernandez. And I gotta tell you, troopers and grinders, it is a shock to me that Carlos Hernandez is once again an underdog against an Asian prospect. This dude's job is literally to fraud check road to UFC fighters. I mean, with Tatsuro Taira, to be fair, he got schooled, knocked out. Tatsuro Taira is a top 5 flyweight in the world. Against Ray Saruya, he was giving Ray troubles in that 3rd round. Found himself on top. First 2 rounds didn't go great for Carlos, so what? He still managed to out-wrestle Ray Saruya, the Korean wrestler, by the end of it. And then against Nyamjargal Tumendembral, even with a reach disadvantage, Carlos Hernandez found a way to outpoint him and use his height to his advantage and score a victory in the last 2 rounds. This is nothing new to him, and now he's dealing with the road to UFC flyweight, who has an even shorter reach than Nyamjargal Tumendembral, and has beaten horrible competition like he knocked out Shannon Ross. Great. As me and a former associate of mine would put it, we've both knocked out Shannon Ross just walking down the street. So it's not an impressive win for a flyweight prospect. In fact, that's the bare minimum. And also, he beat some competition in the Road to UFC tournament, which is not prestigious at all and hasn't resulted in any real contenders. So I think Carlos Hernandez, this is just going to be business as usual for him. He's going to walk down Hyun Sung Park, use his height to his advantage. When he needs to, he's going to take him down. He might get wobbled once or twice by Hyun Sung Park because I will admit he has some power, but then he's going to get through it. He's going to outpoint him. He's going to smother him on the ground if he needs to, and he's going to win either a split or a unanimous decision here. Like, why is this guy an underdog? Have you seen his last couple fights against these road to UFC prospects? He's pretty damn good at fraud checking them. So give me Carlos Hernandez to once again humble the chosen road to UFC fighter. Elise Reed is going to be stepping into the weeds here against Denise Gomes, who I can honestly say isn't that exceptional at anything in particular in the fight game. Well, maybe takedown defense, but she's not bad at anything either. She's very consistent, hard to keep her down. She's got a great frame. I wouldn't say she's the best on the feet, but she gets the job done. That's the best way to describe Denise Gomes. She gets the job done, like she did against Eduardo Mora, who I picked her against Denise Gomes, and she still got it done. So I don't know the ceiling for this girl. And then she beat the crap out of Karolina Kowalkiewicz, which is always sad because she always just winces in pain and looks absolutely horrified when she's getting hurt. But Denise Gomes just gets the job done in every matchup except for Angela Hill, which is actually very well-aged loss most of the time. So, and as you can see with Elise Reed, it's win-loss, 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 win-loss on the record. And she won her last fight, so she's going to lose this one. So give me Denise Gomes to win a WMMA fight, unanimous decision. Next, we have two frightening inmates, Luana Santos and Tainara Thai Panther Lisboa. Tainara Thai Panther Lisboa? I think I'm going to let my buddy Korath respond to this situation. Who? Gotta agree with Korath here. Who is this lady? Apparently she competes in the UFC's women's bantamweight division, and she beat a few cans, and we haven't heard from her since. Just waiting on the call from old Uncle Fester and company. For that reason alone, I was considering picking Luana Santos, but Casey O'Neill was able to get on top of her, and she's not that tall a women's flyweight, and she was just able to outmuscle Luana Santos and control her with ease on top. And so this lady, Tainara Lisboa, is able to do the same with Luana Santos at women's bantamweight because Santos is stepping up, going up a weight class for this one. She's going to be in some trouble. In fact, I actually see her pulling off what Casey O'Neill was able to do before and just find a way to shove her down to the ground and just end up on top and do very minimal damage for 3 rounds, honestly. Like, Luana Santos is very good when she's dealing with shorter opponents or opponents that are less muscular than her, and then she just drags them down. But when she deals with a women's flyweight, or in this case a women's bantamweight, who's just has is more well built and has bigger size than her, she's gonna end up on her back. I'm predicting it, dude. I think this nobody, Tainara Lisboa, is actually gonna pull off an upset and just drag her down to the mat and learn from the playbook that Casey O'Neill did. So give me Tainara Lisboa to win by unanimous decision. Poor Luana Santos. Speaking of fighters that I sarcastically pity, here we have Connor Matthews, who beat a 10-0 guy on Contender Series in order to get into the UFC, and then got knocked out by Dennis frickin' Bazooka Bubblegum, of all people, and he's now being used by the UFC as enhancement talent for very tall prospects, and that is not any different here with old Yadier Delvel, Mr. Giraffe Neck, who got into the UFC coming off a decision, which I'm never really that big a fan of, but he did beat Michael as well. He's got some grappling in his back pocket, and Connor Matthews will not be able to deal with said grappling because he honestly can't overcome any form of opposition in the UFC at this point in his career, which is sad but true. He's going to try to knock Yadier out. Yadier's going to take him down. And even though he's not a finisher by trade, he's going to be elbowing the shit out of Connor Matthews. His hairline's retreating, and then once he's down on the mat, his spirit's going to be in retreat as well, and he's just going to give up. Yadier Del Valle will find a finish in the year of our Lord and Savior, 2025. So give me Yadier Del Valle by round 2 knockout. The controller, Connor Matthews, won't be able to control shit, and the Cuban problem is going to launch a nuke in his general direction. And then we have Paddy Pimblett's worst nightmare, Jared Flash Gordon, taking on the deadly leg kick merchant, Thiago Moises. This is going to be a very close fight. Jared Gordon is a hard guy to put away, unless you almost intentionally headbutt him several times like Bobby Green, not King Green, Bobby Green did, or you're just a young up-and-coming competitor and you can just barely sort of outpoint him and eke out of a decision like Nasrat Haqparast did. But Jared Gordon's tough to just completely put away. Whereas Thiago Moises is sort of vulnerable and has been wobbled before, like he was by Ludovic Klein, and then Benoit Saint-Denis just schooled him and beat him to a bloody pulp. but his performance against Trey Ogden with the leg kicks, able to beat a young, hungry prospect in Trey Ogden, is why I gotta pick Moises. I think he's technical enough. He's a very limber guy with his arms and his legs, just incredible reach. And I think he's going to use it pretty effectively here against Jared Gordon, who I think is just too short and doesn't have long enough a reach to really control the tempo or the action of this fight. I think that's mostly just going to be in Moises' wheelhouse for most of this thing. Gordon's definitely going to land a few punches here and there and make it competitive, but he's not going to dominate every round. He's not going to make it decisive that he's the one landing more damage. That's going to be the longer guy who's able to hit Gordon at range. So give me Moises to win a fairly unanimous decision over Gordon, and we're not going to be hearing after this one. For our next fight, we have... Holy shit, who is that? Give him the business, Korath. This poor guy is just looking up in the heavens like, please get me out of here. And it's too bad he's not going to be able to, because I'm picking him here against Gabe Green. Green has beaten some alright competition in the way distant past, undefeated guys, but lately his IQ has been down the shitter. He allowed Brian Battle to knock him out in a matter of seconds by just swinging like a maniac and then getting caught. And something tells me that he hasn't learned too much from his mistakes. Something tells me that he's just going to swing for the fences again against this guy Camilo, who is mostly really good at submissions, and I mean, he's gotten stoppages now and then, he's gotten decisions, so he can win in a multitude of ways. He doesn't just need to win via knockout like Gabe Green does. And he did beat this guy, Dorobsko Nabotov, who was apparently that guy who showed up at that one press conference marketing himself to Dana White and got himself an opportunity on Dana White's Looking for a Fight, and he just schooled him. This guy, Camillo, just absolutely destroyed him. So for that alone, I'm going to pick him here against Gabe Green because he has 0 fight IQ. See? I know a little bit about you, Mateus Camilo. Stop looking at me like that, man. It's freaking me out, man! And then we have Juicy J. Julian Erosa taking on Melquiziel, or as I like to call him, Michael Jackson Costa. Come on, get down there! ABC. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. Both these guys are on hot streaks right now in the UFC, and I gotta give both these guys a Christmas card for destroying the career of my arch nemesis, C-Rod Christian Rodriguez. Thank both you guys for putting him on a downward spiral, that weight missing, prospect destroying fat fuck. But both these guys are on pretty good win streaks right now. Michael Jackson Costa coming off 3 back-to-back wins following his absolute decimation at the hands of Steve Garcia. But then again, pretty much every fighter in the featherweight division has been folded by Steve Garcia at some point, so I won't fault him for that. And then Juicy J officially joining the Gilly Goose Gang after successfully submitting Christian Rodriguez with a guillotine choke. Yes. As well as Ricardo Ramos with his patented guillotine hold and falling into the arms of the loving Dustin Poirier right before his retirement. No diddy. And speaking of retirement, also completely emasculating Darren Elkins and ruining any prospects of him getting a win ever again. And both these guys have a lot of momentum going their way going into this fight, and I think it's going to be a close, pretty fun fight. You know, you might even say it'll be a thriller? I'll see myself out. But anyway, Michael Jackson Costa, he has a lot of grappling in his back pocket, and that is not the preferred opponent of Juicy J. In his last 3 fights he's won. His weaker moments have come when he's been laid out flat on his back and have somebody on the top trying to maintain position and find a submission. And Melquiziel Costa has that in spades. He also is, in my opinion, improving massively on the feet. And he could even crack Julian Erosa with a big shot. He'll get struck by a smooth criminal. So, yeah, look out for that. He could strike Julian Erosa, knock him down, and submit him. That's what I'm considering. But because this card is absolutely boring, is what I'm predicting, I don't think Melquizael Costa is going to find the finish here. I just think he's going to mostly drag Julian Erosa down and dominate him on top. So give me Melquizael Costa by unanimous decision. Oh! And here it is. An absolute one-round slobber knocker between Nursultan Black, apparently, Michael Jackson can relate, Ruzaboev, and Dustin for Prince, Stoltzfus. Both these guys are just one-hitter quitters. The result of this fight is all going to depend on who cracks the other's chin first. And my money's on Nursultan Ruzaboev, just because we've never seen him get chinned or put out, even in the Joaquin Buckley fight, and we all know that Joaquin Buckley has superhuman power when he wants to have it. And meanwhile, Dustin Stoltzfus, the guys who he's put out, Marc-Andre Barriault is a pretty vulnerable guy. And we're going to see it again in the Shar Magomedov fight. He's going to find some way to get spinning, back-fisted, no diddy, just put out flat on his face, dude. Marc-Andre Barriault is not the toughest guy in the world, and neither was Punahele Soriano when Dustin Stoltzfus put him on his ass and then locked in the rear naked choke. So I actually don't really give too much credit to Dustin Stoltzfus' big underdog wins, since the guys that he put out were not the most unbeatable, unbreakable guys in the UFC's middleweight division, and neither is Nursultan Ruzaboev. We've never seen him get wobbled, hurt, chinned, anything. So I think Nursultan Ruzaboev is going to be the one to land the big punch, not Dustin Stoltzfus, and he's just going to put him flat on his back, dude. This fight is not going to go more than one round, and more likely than not, it's going to be Dustin getting dusted. We move on to quote-unquote super Sadiq Youssef, who hasn't been looking that super in his last couple fights. In fact, you could say that the hands of Diego Lopez could count as his new kryptonite. And before that, he was on the verge of beating Edson Barbosa Jr., and then Barbosa does what he does best and miraculously comes back with crazy spinning shit and knees up the middle and perfect timing on his strikes, and completely ruined the upward trajectory of Super Sadiq. Now he's taken on the legend. Again, these nicknames are not coordinating well with these UFC fighters' current careers. Myron Santos, who almost got fraud checked by Fire Marshal Bill Burns. Also known as Francis Marshall. Does that mean that Sadiq Youssef inevitably beats Myron Santos here? I honestly don't think so, guys. Because as much as Myron Santos had a contrast in performances between his fight with Con Ofley and his fight with Francis Marshall, who's a tough cookie, by the way, great grappler and has striking to boot, he's actually quite a technical fighter. Like, he's able to school his opponents over 3 rounds, as we saw in The Ultimate Fighter, and just be the more technical guy and outpoint the other guy to win a decision, to eke out a decision. And with Super Sadiq Youssef, he's sort of a, I gotta get you out of there early or I'm in trouble kind of fighter. And that's what happened with Edson Barbosa. He knocked him down, couldn't finish it, and then paid for it in the later rounds. And I feel like even though this is only 3 rounds compared to the 5, I feel like the rule is still going to apply, and Myron Santos is just going to, even if he gets dropped, he's just going to beat up Super Sadiq Youssef over the second and third round. So give me Myron Santos to show Super Sadiq Youssef something. And then we have Paul Craig. Poor Paul Craig, man. I think at this point he spent more time on his back than he has standing in his UFC career. That visual of him in a straitjacket is actually pretty fitting, because he fights like he's in one. Taking on Rodolfo Bellato, the Tractor. I don't care that he went to a draw with Jimmy Crute. I don't care that he almost lost to someone at that low level at light heavyweight of all divisions. If Paul Craig spends any time on the feet here with Rodolfo Bellato in exchanges, he's going to get cracked, he's going to get sent to the canvas, and then Bellato's probably just going to ground and pound him no diddy. I think by the second round, for the relatively easy knockout, Craig's just washed at this point in his career. He's always been washed. He just relies on his big triangle that he throws up, and he prays that it works, betting it all on black. And these days it hasn't been working out whatsoever for him. In fact, his last win he spent destroying his opponent on top. So I don't know, man. He's just not looking great these days, and I feel like His time's come. I think it's time to retire Paul Craig. I think Rodolfo Bellato's going to hit him with such a big shot, it's just going to flatline him, and the UFC's just going to think, we got damaged goods on our hands at this point, and just cut him. I mean, you got plenty of Scottish talent in Cage Warriors right now. Just use those guys instead. You don't need Paul Craig to be your symbol or your great spokesperson for Scotland as a country for MMA. They got plenty of Scottish talent that isn't absolutely shit on the feet and doesn't rely on arm triangles. So, I don't know, man. Cut him. Cut Paul Craig. I know it's cruel, but at this point you sort of have to. Rodolfo Bellato by round 2 knockout. And lastly, we have Gilbert Burns against Michael Morales. God, man, 2 retirement fights back to back. Just put us out of our misery, UFC. Like, these fights are not close. I don't know why they're being booked. What is wrong with you, Uncle Fester? What's wrong with you, Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard and all you guys in Dana's posse, the Addams family? Bump, 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 bump. But, yeah, rotten booking here. Even though it's going to result in the finish. Michael Morales is going to chin Gilbert Durinho Burns and finish off his career with him getting absolutely destroyed and just put on his back, just looking up at the lights. This is what's going to happen. Burns is going to shoot a few takedowns. He's going to fail. Michael Morales is going to hit him with a huge knee up the middle or an elbow. Have him just keel over, hop on him like he's Spider-Man. Don't know where I got that analogy from. And then just pound him out, no diddy, for the round 2 knockout. I'll give Burns a little bit of credit. He survives 1 round, but then eventually he's going to wear out with that grappling, and Michael Morales is going to take full advantage, just like he did it with Neil Magny. All these old vets getting put out to pasture, man. It's sad stuff, but that's MMA fighting for you, and that's bad booking. And thus ends Hank the Tank's complete breakdown of all the fights happening in the asylum this Saturday. All of the patients are preparing for chaos in the coming days, but you, the troopers and grinders, are the lucky ones because you have escaped the war zone. For now.